Jai Shri Krishna. At this point, I would like to share a few thoughts with you all of you who are watching and listening to these talks on Bhagavad Gita. We'll call Gita. My goal in this exercise is to make the Gyan embodied in Gita simple to understand without losing the authenticity. This I do by using the words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Sri Chakradhar Maharaj. Like most of us, while growing up, I read Ramayana being in northern India, in UP area. Mahabharata was not to be studied, and Gita only supposed to be studied when you're ready to die. So we only read Ramayana mostly. And worshipped whichever devata is gonna satisfy or fulfill my desire or needs. And that time, being a student, worship Saraswati, so that I can be successful in school and bring myself up out of poverty. To make the long story short, when I moved to the United States, I adopted local culture. After finishing my education, I was sent to Guyana, where I met a gentleman who would later become my guru. Upon my return, I got exposed to the works of Swami Vivekananda and Jiddu Krishnamurti. This did propel me in the right direction. However, I was unable to understand the true meaning of what Bhagavan Sri Krishna said to Arjuna in Gita. I collected several treatises on Gita, but the problem which I saw was that all these were written by scholars who use words which are beyond the comprehension of a common person like me. Luckily, I was exposed to Brahma Vidya as told by Bhagavan Sri Chakradhar Maharaj through my Guruji, and who also explained Gita Gyan. Here, these presentations are an exercise to make Gita Gyan available to the newer generation. This is being done in English language since it is the most widely used language these days. Although the medium is English, the technical words used have not been altered in any way, since these words have unique meaning which cannot be explained in English language, as we will see below. There is a word samsar or sansar. The dictionary gives the meaning of this word as the mortal world, the mundane existence. It does not tell the real meaning of the word. The word samsar means that which moves forward. There is a word called gati, which means motion. Now you take e out of gati and add a prefix sam to it. So it becomes samai. And according to rules of Sanskrit, that e then becomes ya or by. So samai then becomes samay, time. That is the origin of word samay. It came from gati. So that which moves in samay or in time is samsar. So sansar is whatever moves in time. Without time, there is no sansar. Sansar is the flow where whatever is done in the present is done based on the past. Whatever people do in the present usually is based on the past, which means past karma. And The future is also based on the present. So the time or samaya is the flow of events or actions, which is karma, which are instigated by three gunas. The three gunas bind Jivatma through the pair of opposite, which are called dvand. That is why equanimity or samatva yoga has been said to be the highest. If you, what this means now, you have dvand. Dvand means you do this or you don't do this. So if you say you saw something and you say I like it, that's negative or positive, and say I don't like this, so that becomes a negative thought. Either way, it becomes binding because you made a decision on yourself that you liked this thing or you did not like this thing, and it became karma, and then you become bound by that action. But if you remain neutral, whether you didn't even like or didn't like, didn't even think about whether you like it or you don't like it, then the gunas cannot act, because guna only act under the pair of opposites or dvand. So guna cannot cause bondage in that case. That's why person has to be samatto, equanimous, because that way you just, one side is negative, one side is positive, but you stay in the center and keep moving on. You are not affected by either negative or by the positive. It's a very difficult thing to do, but this is what Atma Sanyam Yoga teaches us. In this state, the three gunas cannot cause bondage. In order that we can understand the Atma Sanyam Yoga, we need to look at the following: Atma, Sanyam, and Yoga. Here the Atma is the mana or mind, and Sanyam is to bring the mind in a state where it is no longer chanchal or restless. So the mind becomes quiet, stable. That is the Sanyam. Now we take the yoga. Here the yoga, there are several yogas. These are in the ascending order we will take them. The first is the yoga of the body. This includes keeping our body in healthy state. Without a healthy body, it is difficult to follow the dharma. This yoga entails exercise, asana, walking, and we just read earlier, not too long ago, yuktahar vihara. That all comes under the yoga of the body. Appropriate sleep and waking time, that has to be appropriate too. Here the second yoga is the yoga of senses. So this was the first one, yoga of the body. And Bhagavan Krishna said that senses, indriya, they are higher than the body. So we go ascending order. So now comes the indriya yoga, which is control of senses. The control of senses is very important. The main one in this is the sense of taste. That is the most dangerous sense. The third is the yoga of mind, because mind is higher than the senses. And it's called Mano Yoga. This is very difficult to pursue. This can only be achieved when we have our senses in control. The mind is always wandering. This causes the expense of vast amount of energy. We waste a lot of energy just thinking about a lot of things. When the mind is stable, it results in anand or pleasure. You feel good when the mind is stable. You feel joyful. Here, Bhagavan said, Yat chit indriya kriya. Carefully, yat means yatna, with the yatna, carefully control the activities of chit and the senses. The joy which results from this is negative anand because it occurs in the absence of these activities. Your chit and indriya are not acting, so becomes negative. So that is a negative joy, negative anand. There is another anand which is the anand of yoga. In it, one is fully awake, and this is the positive anand. This can only be experienced in yoga with Ishvara. When we stop all actions of senses and mind and remember Ishvara through his name, the nectar or the amrit appears. The joy of that amrit is only experienced by the Atma through buddhi. This anand is nirpeksh, meaning that to experience this anand, one does not need anything else. No peksha, nothing needed. In the beginning, this stage of Gyan, which is called the Shabd Gyan, learning with Shabd or words, the object or the sadhya is the yoga of the body and that of senses. That's what we do in Shabd Gyan. In addition, here one has to listen to the Shastra, study Shastra, do the Nam Jap, move the mind away from the worldly things and get the mind in a stable state. This all entails is included in the Shabd Gyan stage, which is a lot of work. After all this is accomplished, Ishwar gives him the Aparoksh Gyan, which is the second level, higher level of Gyan. Now he sees all the reality, everything, he sees everything that exists and removes all karmalep. He sees his karma, he sees his sarup, his karma, removes all his karmalep. Now he gets the joy through buddhi at this stage. In the next stage, the samanya gyan, he gets the anand of Ishwar constantly from Ishwar alone. Now he needs not do anything. Once he reaches this stage, all is done by Ishwar. He has to do nothing. This is where we will start at Shlok 18.
Yada viniyatam chittam atmanyevavatishthate nisprahah sarvakamebhyo yukta ityuchyate tada.
Nispraha sarva kamebhyo yukta ityutyate tada. In this shlok, the description is that of Shabd Gyan. Yada, meaning when or in which time, Vinyatam, in a special way, making the great effort through Anushtan, he exercises control of his chittam. Then his chit Atmanev Tishrita verily rests in his Atma. When he makes this effort, then his chit rests in his Atma. Doesn't go out. The chit of an ordinary person wanders outside looking for the pleasure of the senses in their object. So the chit is wandering all the time in an ordinary person. And what is chit looking for? For pleasure of senses, whatever feels good to him, the senses, and what feels good to senses is object of the senses. So the chit is wandering there. Now, the chit of this person becomes established within his Atma through Ishwar Anushtan. Anushtan means puja. Then what happens? Sarva kamebhyo, for all the desires. Sarv means everything. All the desire man has two type of desires. When you say all the desires, that means both types of desires. The desire for wealth, which comes under lobh, and for family, which comes under kam, nispraha, he loses the longing for both type of these desires in that time. Ityuchyate yukta. At this time he is called yukt or a yogi. So Shabd Gyan, this is the last shlok of the Shabd Gyan. In this he has to perform many actions to bring his chit under control and in a steady state. Since his chit has stopped wandering outside, all of his desires come to an end. Such a person is called a yogi. So this is very clear. And it's a lot of work and it has to be pursued, like they say, religiously. So you cannot just say, I'm going to do today and tomorrow I won't do, or next day I can do. Well, I can do this today and doesn't matter, we procrastinate. Nothing like that. You have to do in a rigorous way, very, very religiously. If you miss one, what happened? If you decide the Anushthan has to be done every day, 3 times or 2 times, whatever, it has to be done at that time. You have to train yourself. If you can't train yourself, then how can you control senses? Senses are much more powerful than we are. So you say, what does it matter if this person is called yogi? By identifying him as yogi, his chit is situated within, and now he can achieve siddhi by following yog sadhana. In Shlok 15, Bhagavan described the siddhi achieved by him is Shant Nirvan Paramam Mat Sansthan Adhigachati. He attains the highest Paramam, highest Shanti, Param Shanti, which abides or which stays or coming from, Bhagavan says, in me. That only Shanti, that is the highest Shanti, state of Shanti, and which culminates in Nirvan, Nirvan Adhigachati. So that Shanti results in Nirvan. Now there is the next shlok. In the next shlok, Bhagavan described what this state is like. When this kind of Shanti is there, what is it like actually? What does the Jeev Atma feels? So this is described where in that state where the chit becomes steady. It doesn't go out, it's just very steady, stable. What that is like is in the next slok.
यथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता योगिनो यतचित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः
Yogino yat chittasya yunjate yogamatmana. Yatha means as, nivatasya, in windless spot, a place where there is no wind blowing there. Deep, a lamp. Nengate, it does not flicker. So if you have a lamp or deepak sitting in this place where though there is no movement of air, then the flame does not flicker, it remains straight and steady. Sa upama, such simile is given for yogam, in the yog, atmana, of Paramatma. Here Atmana means Paramatma. Yunjate, practicing, the one who is always in the dhyan of Paramatma. Yogina, for that yogi. Yat chittasya, of one with a stable chit. Which yogi? The one which has stable chit. Smrta means is thought of or has been said. The one who does this yoga of Atma, what he is like, his chit has become steady and does not wander anywhere outside of the Atma. This is accomplished with careful and rigorous practice. Such a stable chit occurs in the Aparoksh Jnana. In it, the chit becomes stable in one place and looks at the Paramatma Sarup. Having reached at this state, what happens to him next? Here Bhagavan is telling step by step. How can a person become yogi? And when he becomes yogi, what happens to him next? And then next. What happens to him next is described in next slok.
यत्रो परमते चित्तम् निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति
Yatra chaivatma atmanam pashyan atmani tushyati. Here we need to understand one thing quite very clearly, that it is if one will restrain his mind or the chit by force, if you do forcibly, then what happens? Then the first chance the mind gets, mind will revolt and go into many directions because the mind has been forcibly controlled. So there has to be a goal towards which the mind activity should be controlled. So, but if you put your mind to something else, a different goal, then mind has something to do. You're not forcing the mind to stand still or do nothing. So you have to have some goal for the mind, because mind, that's what mind is. Mind has got to do something all the time. So, but if you do not provide a goal for the mind, and you say mind has to stop working, you just cannot think about anything else, it's not going to happen. Mind will go out of control. Here, this person's goal is yoga with Paramatma. So he puts his mind towards the yoga with Paramatma. Therefore, yoga sevaya, through the practice of yoga, sevan of yoga, yoga sevaya, niruddham, he does restrain, chittam, his chit becomes restrained, yatra, in which state, uparamate, he attains quietude through seeing Paramatma. Now his mind becomes quiet. He's got something to do, and the mind is engaged in to get yoga of Paramatma and becomes quiet. Cha means and, yatra, in which state, atmana. Here is little bit to understand here. Atmana here means from Paramatma. Atmanam, that Jivatma, Pashyan, seeing Atmani, in the Paramatma alone. Tushyati, remains contented. By being close to him, meaning the Paramatma, he's looking at Paramatma Sarup. And by seeing the Jivatma starts to enjoy the Anand from Paramatma. So it's from Paramatma, looking into Paramatma, and Jivatma gets the joy. This means that having completed the Shabd Gyan, when he receives the infusion of the Gyan Shakti, when he gets the Gyan Shakti, and then he sees Paramatma with his Atma, not seeing with the eyes, seeing Paramatma with his Atma. The Paramatma gave this Jeev the power to see him. He did not get by himself. Paramatma gave him the power to see Paramatma. Now, through this power, the Jivatma sees Paramatma and constantly derives the Anand of Paramatma Sarup. This Anand is Sadhyanand. He still has the body and senses. Although they are not active, this is called the Atma Vasthan or the Atma Yoga. This is called Atma Yoga. Atma is in yoga with Paramatma. What happens then? Bhagavan tells in the next shloka.
सुखमात्यन्तिकं यत्तद् बुद्धिग्राह्यमतीन्द्रियम् वेत्ति यत्र न चैवायम् स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः
वेत्ति यत्र न चैवायम स्थित सचलित तत्वतः. This is a very important shloka. Bhagavan describes the sukh which the jeev is experiencing in this state. It is atyantikam sukham. It's not just ordinary sukh. Atyantikam sukham. Atyant means very high level, but it's higher than that. This is the infinite or anant sukh. There is no limit to this sukh which he is receiving, because Paramatma himself is anant. His sukh is also anant. So he is receiving atyantik sukh. The word sukh means the pleasure which is experienced by senses. Su means good, which feels good, and kha means senses. So whatever feels good to indriya, senses, is sukh. Here the senses are not working. His senses are under control. They are not working. So through what power the Jeev experience this Sukh? The Jeev experience the Sukh through Buddhi. Because his man and senses are, Indriya, both are under control. The man is situated in Atma. So now the Buddhi is what is left, and with the Gyan goes into Buddhi, and through that Buddhi he enjoys the Anand of Paramatma Sarup, which is Atyantik Sukh. Buddhir Grahim. This Sukh is received through the Buddhi because this Sukh is Atindriyam. Atindriyam means is beyond the power of experience of Indriya. It cannot be experienced by Indriya. It's beyond the senses. The Sukh which is experienced by senses is the Sukh of Sansar, because Indriya go outside all the time in the Sansar. So the only Sansarik Sukh can be experienced through senses. This is called Sapeksh. The Sukh of Sansar is Sapeksh. In it, you need something. It depends on something. It's not by itself. It's not Anand. It is Sukh. You have to have something. If you want to taste something, you have to have that object to get that taste. Where this Anand is just Anand. It does not need anything else. It's Nirpeksh. Veti yatra nachayvayam sthitis chalati tattvataha. This is Aproksha Gyan. Here, Veti tattvataha. Through the Gyan, he knows what his Sukh is, what this Sukh is, and he now sees the four Tattva about which he learned in the Shabd Gyan. These four Tattva are Jeev, Prapanch, Devta, and Parmeshwar. He sees them actually, what they are. Here he sees each of the four Tattva. Jeev, he sees Jeev, he sees himself, he sees every other Jeev also. And he sees Devtas, he sees all the Devtas. They are all visible to him. He sees Prapanch, he sees whatever everything is made up of in the Sansar. And Parmeshwar, he sees Parmeshwar through from whom he is getting that Anand. Yatra ayam sthiti. Situated in this state. What state? Where he sees all tattva and he is getting the Anand, infinite Anand from Paramatma. In that state, ayam na aiva chalati. This yogi does not go anywhere. He is steady. Now, once in this state of Aproksha Gyan, he cannot fall. He will move forward towards moksha. There is no way he is going to fall from there. He will stay here. In the next slok, also there is a description of this state of Gyan.
Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate.
Yasmin sato na dukkhena. He says, Yam labdhva, meaning having obtained this Sukh. the atyantik sukh from Paramatma, aparam labham manyate na. He does not believe that there is any labh greater than this. That is the greatest labh that there is this, is the atyantik sukh from Paramatma. This is the ultimate labh. Yasmin sthitam. Yasmin sthito, in this state where he is getting this anand, dukkha, gurunepi, no matter how much dukh is given to him, na vichallite, he does not, he cannot, that dukh cannot shake him, he cannot fall. Now what does this mean? This is because whenever dukh is given by devata, where does dukh comes from? Devata. They give dukh all the time. Karma phal. And our karma is never great karma, so we get dukh. So devata is giving dukh. And it's given through sense and mind. That's the only way devata can administer dukh. But here, in this state, the yogi is getting the sukh by the buddhi. His mind and senses are not working, they are under control. So how can devata give dukh to this yogi? Devata cannot give to this dukh to yogi. Like in Aparoksh Gyan, devata will pick up this yogi, throw him away here and there and give all kind of dukh. But it does not waver him, cannot do anything to this yogi. Because he is in Anand. Bhagavan explains further in the next slok.
Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sangitam sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa.
Tam yoga sangitam. That yoga is known by what name? What is the sangya of that name? Sangya means what is the name of that yoga which we just talked about? It is called dukh sanyog viyog. Yog. This yoga is dukh sanyog viyog. This yoga is a state of severance from the contact of dukh. The contact of dukh happens with the contact of senses with their objects. As Bhagavan Krishna has said in chapter 2, slok 14, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukh dukkhada. Here in this yoga, there is no contact of senses. There is no matra sparsh, no contact senses. Therefore, this yoga has severed, totally severed, that which is the cause or the agent of the contact with dukh. This Atma Yoga is called Dukh Sanyog Viyog, where Dukh Sanyog is severed. And for that yogi whose chit has become quiet and is filled with anand should practice this yoga with total determination, as if it were his only duty. As in is he continues the practice of the yoga, then what happens is described in the next slok.
सङ्कल्पप्रभवान् कामान् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् शेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः.
This yogi is in the approach jnana, where he destroys all his karma. Bhagavan says that tyaktva, leaving asheshata, completely, nothing, not even a trace should be left. Asheshata. Sarvan kaman, all desires. Now, what kind of desires? The desires sankalp prabhavan, those desires which are born out of sankalp. All of those desires, asheshta, completely. Tyaktva, leave it. Get rid of them. Don't even look towards them. Man does not do anything without sankalp. Now the question is that this yogi who has seen Paramatma and is getting his Anand or the Anand of Paramatma, what desires will he have? Bhagavan says, Tyaktva. All the desires you must leave. These are the desires to quickly remove all karma lep, because he is not looking outside, he is looking at his karma lep, and he does not like what he sees. He wants to be like Paramatma. So his desire is to remove his karma lep. So to do this, for this he does sankalp, that I must do this, and goes away somewhere else, not around where Paramatma avatar is. He goes somewhere else. And does two actions to remove these lep. What are these two actions? These are Bahurupata and Bahukamata. He uses these two techniques to try to remove all his karma lep. Now what happens? That time he is not in front of Paramatma avatar. So Devata come and create lot of obstacle for him, give him trouble. Because Devata does not want Jeev to be with Paramatma. Then he runs back to Paramatma. And that time he is okay then. This is what Bhagavan is saying, that leave even all these desires, the desire to remove your karma lep by yourself. Leave it to me. I will do it. You don't do it. Because while you are doing these actions, you are not experiencing the Anand. Remember, he's at the state where he's getting an Anand of Paramatma directly from Paramatma. Now, when he moves himself away from there to remove these karma lep with his sankalp, he is away from that Anand. He is not getting that Anand. So what shall he do? Samantata, from all sides, in every way, viniyamya, completely restraining indriya gramam, all groups of senses. How? Man seve, by mind alone. So he removes he restrains his mind from doing sankalp now. He is not going to do any sankalp. And that will restrain the senses. So first, if he restrains his mind from doing the sankalp, then indriya will not be coming in action. Earlier, Bhagavan said, he did not restrain the senses by the mind. In this Atma Gyan, there are this is what it called Samanya Gyan and Vishesh Gyan. What happens in these? Here what he is doing, he is using his mind to abstain from all the sankalp. Now, what happens to him now?
शनैः शनैरुपरमे बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्.
Shanai, Shanai, Rupameta. Shanai, Shanai, Rupameta. He says, slowly. Shanai, Shanai means slowly. By degree. Not just anyway, just slowly, degree by degree, step by step. He should attain quietude. Means get his mind quiet. In other words, rise above all desires. When the mind is not quiet, the reason is the mind is thinking about some sankalp all the time. So it's not quiet. So slowly, very carefully, slowly what he is to do, he has got to quiet his mind. He should attain quietude. In other words, rise above all desires. He doesn't have any desires. How? Dhriti garhyata buddhaya. How should he do that? Through the buddhi, steadfast in jnana. See, the jnana is given into buddhi. Buddhi yoga is nothing but jnana yoga. So jnana is given to buddhi. He tenaciously, dhrati, he just very, very tenaciously, he doesn't let go of it. He uses buddhi to control his mind activity. What else he should do? Atma sanstast mana kritva. Place his mind. Mana means place his mind. Kritva means what he should do. Atma santast. He should situate his man in Atma. Now this becomes confusing. He does this with buddhi. Using the power of jnana which is in the buddhi, he uses that jnana shakti to put his mind into Atma. Situates in the Atma. Which is the buddhi which is steadfast in jnana. This buddhi has patience and there is no fear. Now he is moving into Atma Yoga. What is the fear? If you remove all your sankalp, what are you afraid of then? Because once you do that, you have no contact with anybody else. You have known people for ages, but you just remove your contact with them because you want to remove all the sankalp. So there's nobody there. Now you start wondering, what will happen to me next? I am alone. What's going to happen? Because man, by nature, wants some help from other people. But here is all gone. So what do you do? So there is fear. So he is moving into Atma Gyan. At this stage, only the Atma, Now here Atma is Man and Buddhi. Atma word is being used for Man and Buddhi. That's all remains of his Atma. Chitta Ahankar is all control gone. All else has disappeared from the scene. His body runs on the power of Gyan. Before, what used to be? There were Devata Shakti which were running the body, and now the Shakti has been replaced, Devata Shakti has been replaced by Gyan Shakti from Paramatma. So now he controls his mind with his buddhi, which has Gyan in it, or he places his mind in the buddhi. Mind is not going to go anywhere now. The mind is now, he situates it in buddhi. Now Bhagavan says that he should relinquish all sankalp. By doing this, he can relinquish all sankalp from his mind. When the mind is now controlled and put into buddhi, which has gyan, there will be no sankalp anymore. Because sankalps are in a gyan state. Now what are these sankalp in his mind which he has got to restrain from? These are the vasana hidden deep within. They are not seen outwardly. They are hidden within the mind, the vasana, which he doesn't even know. These still remain even though he is unable to act on these vasana, because since all his senses are unable to act. So how can he act on his vasana? He cannot act on the vasana. But the vasana nonetheless are there, hidden in his mind. So Bhagavan says that he should end all these hidden vasana also. When he will do this, a sort of fear will appear that he is losing all contact with all those whom he has known. So here Bhagavan tells Arjun, that was Arjun's fear. That's why he did not want to fight. So Bhagavan tells Arjun that upon reaching this state, he should remove his fear as to what will happen to him. Since he has severed all contacts with the ones he was close and considered to be his own. Later, this will be one of the questions of Arjun in the same this chapter. So, with perseverance through buddhi, he alters his mind so that the mind gets situated and rests in Atma. However, the mind is part of the Atma, so this creates a confusion. What does it mean? Here, the meaning is that the faculty of mind, now here pay attention here, faculty of mind or man is only as long as thoughts keep coming into it. As long as thought keep coming into mind, that is faculty is there. But he has stopped all the thoughts. These are called, what are these thoughts? They are called tark vitark. Like the saying goes, to be or not to be. That's what mind is always doing, struggling. What should I do this or shouldn't I do this? Looking at something, will this make profit for me or this will cause problem or what will happen? So, that tark and vitark. So that those thoughts and where these thoughts in this state of Atma, where these thoughts appear. So Bhagavan says to relinquish his doubtfulness. What is this tark and vitark? He is not sure. Mind is not sure. Mind is always doubting what should be done. Bhagavan says, relinquish all his doubt. That is what he's saying when you remove all your thoughts. And know that you are on the right path, correct path. You have to, how you get rid of your thoughts? By knowing that you are on the right path. So you don't even think about anything else. And that you know with Gyan. Because Gyan is always right. In this way, he brings his Atma totally within. Man, Buddhi, everything is within. Here, it is important to understand that Man is simply the doubt which occurs in Atma. Man, what is Man? Is the doubt that occurs in Atma. That's what Man is. With the power of Gyan, this doubtfulness, sanshaya of the Atma disappears. Since now it has become endued with the truth. What? The Buddhi, the Atma has become endued with the truth, and in the truth there is no doubt. There is no doubt in truth. Truth is truth. In chapter 2, Shlok 44, Bhagavan called such buddhi as Vyavasaitika buddhi, Vyavasayik buddhi, or Nishchayatmak buddhi, where that buddhi, Nishchay, gives the right, that you are on the right path, correctly, Nishchay, This way, the man situated in Atma, so in this state, what should he do now? He should na kriyendriyapi nishchayat. Now this is something which is kind of interesting to know. He shall not think of anything. Not anything whatsoever. This means that at this stage, when his man has become one with Atma, he need not even do the chintan of Paramatma. He doesn't need to think about Paramatma. Earlier in Shlok 14, Bhagavan said, Mat chitto, mat para, think about me. Mat par. And in this state, he says, Kinchadapi chintayet. Now here he is to do nothing. Before he was to do chintan of Paramatma. Now he's got to do nothing. He has arrived actually. To us, it sounds strange because we are always used to doing something. However, with senses and the man having gone, he is beyond thought. There is no thought now because thought happens in the mind. Therefore, he has no need to even think of anything. There is no thoughts, so he don't need to think of anything. Arriving at this stage, he will still need to do something. He has reached so far up, but still has got something else to do. And what that is, we will take it up in the next time. Sri Krishna.